say something loud.
Hi! Scott! Scuba bee ba da ba dee ba ba.
Hey.
Hey. Hello and welcome to Burning Boat Business, a podcast that follows the progress, success, and failures of our business, Burning Boat,
As well as ourselves.
To start things off today, we have a birthday in the house. It's Mads' birthday today, so I think we might want to sing a little bit.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear
Mads.
Happy birthday to you.
Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray!
Thank you.
I also wanted to play this real quick. I don't think we can play more than 7 seconds, but happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you.
I'm excited for today. Where should we start?
Let's start like
We
we
are
did
joined by-
Yeah.
introducing our first guest
Yeah.
of the podcast.
Yep.
He's waving to the camera for those of you who aren't watching on YouTube.
Correct.
Hello.
Say something.
I'm Robin Watson. You may have heard about me. I've been mentioned in a couple of videos, couple of podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Robin's the guy who's been filming all of the behind the scenes
Yeah.
for our YouTube channel.
Mhm.
He, we met like a year and a half ago when we filmed my first feature-length film, where, you used to go to the same university as me.
Yeah, still do.
Right,
Technically.
So, yeah, I don't go to university anymore, but he goes to the one that I went to.
Mhm.
And so when I was making my first feature-length film, I thought that it might be a good idea to try and reach out to that university and get people doing the same course I was doing to help out on my film as like interns or as camera assistants. And so I met Robin that way, and he worked on my film for like 2 weeks,
Yep.
and then we've kind of kept in touch since then, and I asked if he was interested in coming to Copenhagen for a bit during the summer and to help us out.
Yep.
I don't know, is that kind of the same story that you have?
It's pretty much the same thing, yeah. We've, interestingly enough, been keeping in touch pretty often, like once a week or so since then. And then he came up with the idea of me coming to visit / work as they kind of start up the business together. So yeah.
The way that we kept in touch was that, remember on the trip, we kind of all agreed that we would try and check in with each other.
Yeah, we had said,
every
like,
month.
Yeah.
Once a month we have to like reach out to everyone who was
Yeah.
involved and ask how we're doing with our individual goals, because we set goals on the trip.
Right.
And that didn't quite work. I mean, I think we did it maybe after 2 months. We kind of checked up on everyone, and then
I remember one instance of everyone kind of emailing
Exactly.
quickly.
Yeah.
and then it kind
Which
of
is normal. I think it's
it fizzled out a little bit, but then I guess we did it a little bit more than everyone else.
Mhm.
It also started off by, remember we had that idea of doing that thing where we would pay it forward by
right.
Skyping with
Like
3
the
people
yeah.
that we know, whether it be like our mom, someone we haven't talked to in 5 years, or like a really good friend, and just asking them if there's anything they wanted to set as a goal, and for us to be like an accountability partner or something like that.
Mhm.
And Robin was the first one I reached out to and did that with, and that's kind of why we kept in touch.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can you talk about what was your goal?
My goal.
Yeah. Did you have one?
For what? On the
For
trip?
Mads?
For when
It was
when
my.
I Skyped you the
Yeah,
first time.
I mean, I was working on a short film as part of my course at the time, which didn't end up going so well, but I think it was good to have. Obviously, I had my own individual goals that I kind of kept to myself, but it was good to have someone to kind of check in with every so often, just to keep myself accountable, I guess. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so they were just like small goals with the screenplay, with the film itself, and then I guess there may have been one or two personal things outside of my course as well.
Okay. Cool. So that's how you guys know each other, and then you decided. Did you say this already? So you decided to fly out to Copenhagen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To help us out for a month, I believe.
Yeah, pretty
Close
much.
to a month.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to ask how, because when we were then Skyping, I remember you said at one point, like, you just like to help out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, do you want to come and just like work with us for
Yeah.
how long can you work, basically was what I said. And you were like, a month. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then you just, I know I kind of like tried to update you, and I feel like every single time we Skyped, I changed what we were going to be doing. At first it was like, we're going to be shooting a short film, and then we're going to be shooting part of my feature length film, and then it ended up being that we're going to be on these shoots doing videos for other companies and for our YouTube channel. So like, what were you expecting coming in?
To be honest, I kind of before I came here, the things that I knew about the way you worked and the kind of person that you were, I'd only gathered from our talks on Skype and from working together a year ago. But I did understand that because the business itself is only just starting up, there's not so much you can... A lot of it is learning by doing and kind of seeing how it goes, which is something that I wanted to be a part of pretty much. I almost prefer it to having a set structure, because you can kind of adapt things to how you feel in the moment, and just it allows you to be a lot more open to different opportunities, both for like you guys' business and for me helping you guys out.
One of the things that we've talked about being one of our main goals is having an office at some point in the future, but that's like our first I guess measurable goal as a company. And obviously having an office also implies having people working in the office, because
right,
we don't really need an office yet. So like having employees and having other people than just the two of us working with Burning Boat. And I think we've talked a little bit about how, like, what that process is going to be like, finding people to work with, and what the criteria is, and a little bit about, well, is it more important to find people who are like experts at editing or at marketing or at, you know, these specific things, or is it more about finding people who have the same mindset as us, or at least a mindset that
purely the mindset, I think, because you can teach someone to edit, you can teach someone to do it.
And I mean, I obviously agree, and that's kind of the thing that I've felt with you, Robin, is that from the trip, it was like, yeah, you knew how to fly the drone, you got great shots and stuff, but it was more that you were interested in engaging with what we were doing on a completely different level. Yeah. And that is just so much more exciting to work with, and like Taylor said, that all the technical stuff can be taught. So and the fact that you just decided to fly here for a month, you know, working with us like full time without getting anything financially out of it, it just says a lot. And so we're very, very grateful that you would want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, no.
Go ahead.
It was definitely for the trip a year ago, and now it's a lot more about just me kind of understanding that you guys have a drive, and you're like driven to build a company, and I can understand that, and I just want to help out. It's not about me necessarily gaining more experience, because there are a bunch of ways I could do that, but specifically me being able to relate to your guys' mindset behind starting up the company, that was probably one of the main reasons why I wanted to come help out, really.
Yeah, and off of that, we are very thankful, and it's been shocking to me a little bit how much it just helps to have a good third person, like how much value that actually adds to us is massive.
I mean, just those days that you were gone, because Robin, he went away for 3 or 4 days to go on a yoga retreat, so we were without him for a couple of days, and we just realized very quickly how much more difficult it was.
Yeah, I think it's just with film, there's just so much that can always be done while you're shooting, and especially I think with the YouTube stuff, it just really helps to have a third person to film us interacting, because what I've noticed is that, you know, our whole idea of like everything being transparent and honest and it just comes from a third person filming us, and not from us pointing a camera in each other's faces. That still works, obviously. I think like if you guys have seen the YouTube video, the magic thing, right? Like I was holding the camera for that, and there's still a way to do it, but there is something very pure and honest about the way you've been filming things. And there's some really funny shit in there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what I have noticed definitely is that you guys could probably go, I don't know, 5-6 hours into doing something, and then just like you're not going to prioritize trying to film behind the scenes stuff, or trying to film a certain aspect of the process that you're going through. So obviously at the start it was a bit difficult because I didn't really know exactly what it is that you guys wanted, but it is a process in itself, and I have realized kind of how much it is important for me to just like randomly pick up the camera and film something, even if it isn't necessarily used, it's still there.
I know, 'cause there's hours that we
very
haven't
hard
been able
to
use, but I think what you were saying, that it's like we're so focused on like editing, for example, that's where all of our attention is going. So suddenly thinking about picking up the camera would either break that workflow, or it wouldn't happen. And that's kind of what.
Right, it's like if you have a conversation and then
wait,
pick up
hang
the
on.
camera. Wait, let's say that again. It's it's horrible.
It's very hard.
Okay, so let's just talk a little bit about your experience in the actual like production side of things.
Okay.
I think there's a really interesting story to talk about, which is
We're going to talk about the drone.
the coffee shop shoot. I just think it's very interesting. So I'll set it up. We did I think our 4th shoot for a company now in 2 weeks. So we're on track to hit our goal of doing 5 companies. We didn't really set a deadline or anything, but to do videos for 5 companies. So this was the 4th one. A lady who owns a coffee shop, which happened to be quite far out of our way. It was like 2 hours outside of Copenhagen. And we actually just shot there on Thursday. I think Thursday. And the first thing we do is we arrive at the coffee shop, we kind of unpack all the equipment, and then we tell Robin, like, hey, just go down to the beach and just get a couple quick drone shots.
And this is something we do almost all the time. We'll arrive somewhere and we'll tell Robin to go fly the drone.
Right.
We did that a lot on my feature-length film trip. We really trust you with the drone.
Yeah. We did really trust you. Now I'm getting it. So we get there, we unpack all the equipment, we send them off to the beach to get some drone footage, and then how about you just take it from there?
No, because I think it's still funny to tell it from our side of the story.
Okay.
Because we're then, shooting in this cafe, getting establishing shots, doing a time lapse, getting some nice slow-mo shots in the Ronin.
Right.
And I'm becoming very aware that it's been a long time since Robin went to the beach with the drone.
Right.
And we start kind of joking about it, like, I wonder if we had like a GoPro on Robin, we could cut to that angle right now. Like, what would we be seeing?
Maybe swimming in the ocean trying to
find the drone. We're like, probably not. He's probably just like getting really into it. It's like a cool beach, or it's a little further away than we thought. I remember I like walked down the street to see like if I could see the beach. I was like, oh, it is right there. And that kind of ruins that theory a little bit. And slowly I start to think that there's definitely something wrong. It's either that you've completely misunderstood what we told you to
Yeah,
do,
just getting like
or
hours of
something else
footage, yeah.
happened, and then you come back with just the drone remote. So
Yeah.
why don't you tell us what happened?
Well, I mean, yeah. So
Give us like a quick version.
I went into it thinking the exact same thing as these two. Just planning on getting, I don't know, a little bit of B-roll, you know, like 10, 20 minutes of footage, which, yeah, basically I started off flying the drone from the most accessible part of the beach, and the winds were
Ridiculous.
yeah, pretty
A lot of
strong.
wind.
So I then decided to walk with the drone as I was flying it, and obviously you want the nicest shot as well. So I flew it pretty high. I think I reached the maximum altitude that the drone would fly.
Which is 500 meters.
Yeah.
And to be fair, the shots look fucking sick.
Yeah.
The ones I saw on the phone look amazing.
And then yeah, so I was walking with it as I was flying because the wind had picked up quite a bit and was definitely carrying it quite fast without me having to use the joystick very much. And then every I don't know, 5-10 seconds it would like start glitching a little bit and lose connection, so I'd stop flying and then continue flying. And then I was so concentrated on getting the shot and looking at the screen to see what I was recording, and then all of a sudden it just disconnects and I look up into the sky and it's literally nowhere to be seen. So I like run to where I think it is.
So it disconnect. You lose connection with it on the phone. So you're not connected to the drone itself.
Exactly. I lost connection, and basically what happens is you aren't able to press there's a like return to home button, or I think there's meant to be a function where if it disconnects it will then return to the very first spot that is the like home position.
Yeah.
So long story short, I ended up having to like I was running with the drone box, like with the case, as I was I had the remote in one hand, the drone case in the other, running along this little like ledge next to the beach, trying to figure out where I had potentially landed. I was trying to ask people, but obviously like none of them spoke English. Half of them were like naked because I don't know, they don't expect someone to be flying a drone along this like beach. Also considering the weather is like about to rain, really windy, pretty cold as well. So I ended up like stashing the drone box and then basically trying to look around the beach. I walked maybe like 20 minutes, 30 minutes up and down the beach, and then started climbing through like shrubbery to try and find it. And then I returned like 2 hours later just to tell them what had happened, that I didn't find it.
And so on the drone app that you have on the phone, there's a find your drone button that is meant to tell you where the drone is, and I'm not quite sure how that's supposed to work. I think that it still needs to be connected to the remote itself. There has to be some kind of signal for it to say this is where it actually is, and then if that doesn't happen, I think it just tells you where the last known spot is.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Makes sense.
When it disconnects,
because there's footage of the moment that it loses signal, because the drone records all of the stuff it films onto the phone as like a temporary file,
Right.
and all of the actual footage is obviously in the SD card in the drone itself. And where the Find My Drone app is telling us that the drone is exactly where it was flying over when it lost signal.
Yeah.
And just the chances of it actually landing where it's said is where it is, I just don't really think that's what happened.
They were
because
pretty
it was
slim,
so
yeah.
high up,
Mhm.
and the wind was so strong. And you said that it was already running low on battery,
Yeah.
and that it was kind of glitching out every
Mhm.
so often
Yeah.
along the way. So I feel like it could be anywhere.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I went back, and then Matt's joined me to like go for the second surge, and where I was, my legs are pretty like cut up at the moment. Where we were searching, the bushes, pretty much all of them were pretty thorny, and some of them went up to like my shoulders.
I mean, this place that it says it is.
Yeah.
It's like you've got the beach, which is obviously flat, and then there's a hill.
Yeah.
It's probably like 40 meters high,
Yeah.
but it gets to that height
Mhm.
within like 10 meters.
It's a pretty steep
So it's
incline.
very,
yeah.
very steep incline, and on
Yeah.
this incline it's just completely overgrown with about 3 different types of bush,
Yeah.
and each one of these bush has some kind of thorn. Tiny little thorns,
Yeah.
long thorns, and like the whole place was thorny, and it was just so thick, impossible to make your way through.
Yeah.
We did though,
Mhm.
the whole way through it, and we didn't find it.
Yeah.
We looked everywhere. We looked for 5 hours.
Yeah, they were gone for a while.
Yeah.
We talked to people. We knocked on neighbors' doors. We gave out phone numbers. We heard someone say that they heard a drone a couple
Yeah,
hours
yeah.
earlier and said that it flew that way.
Yeah.
We walked that way for 30 minutes. Yeah, we lost the drone.
I mean, yeah, I spent the whole time looking for. I arrived at the cafe, and then
Yeah, you didn't do much.
left, and then came back 5 hours later, and then we made our way
So
home.
Taylor, he shot the video at the cafe.
All the while.
And we
Yeah.
were looking for the drone. So
But it worked out. They didn't really even notice, I think. They were just like,
no, they don't
oh,
know.
right.
The video will be great.
You're the one shooting the video.
We just
Yeah.
won't have a drone establishing
We
shot.
might still be able to use it from the phone. It looks
Yeah, I
pretty
don't know
cool.
if that quality's
It's
good
small.
enough once you blow it up, but
We'll see.
we'll see. For me, it was obviously it's an annoying situation. It's an expensive piece of equipment we've lost. We actually don't use it that much, but when we do, it really
It helps
it's
a lot.
good.
But we did say it's the piece of equipment we use the least,
At
and
the
it's
moment.
also the equipment that we say like, well, we might as well get the drone in the air because we have it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
what
it's
we're
not a
doing right
necessity.
now, it is 100% not necessary. When I'm out on the mountains skiing, it's the best.
Yeah.
Or anywhere in nature, it's amazing to have. But we haven't been using it a lot recently, so in a way, the loss is a little easier to.
And we still don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
people. I think the owner of the coffee shop said she was going to post on Facebook for the area.
Yeah, we
You know,
might
if someone
still
finds
find
a
it.
drone.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll turn it in.
But I've found the experience. I don't want to say I enjoyed the experience because that's obviously not the case, but I did like the way that it happened because we've been using all the equipment to like constantly. Like
Mhm.
we've been using as much as we can, and it's something that's inevitably gonna happen.
Right.
You're gonna break stuff.
Right.
Like and you can't avoid that. And to me, it's just like it's part of the business a little bit.
100%. I think it's part of anything to do with film. You're
I
going
mean,
to break
the
something.
worst
at some
thing would
point.
be if we, had been afraid to lose it and then weren't using it,
Yeah.
or we're only using it when we were 100% sure that nothing could ever happen. And there's
It's a
just
fucking drone, and
so much
yeah,
footage
yeah.
we would not have
Yeah.
to this day if we had been working that way.
Right.
And so it's just you got to accept that that's what's going to happen if you want to use that kind of equipment. And I felt like I accepted that, so I was kind of happy with the way that we all reacted to it. And it wasn't like this, oh my god, this is such an expensive piece of equipment, which it is, but that wasn't the main thing. It was like, at least we've been using it.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's like if it were my own drone, I would have at first I'd be pissed off because it is expensive, but then I'd be like, it happens sometimes, but it's not really my place to say, oh.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, definitely, you're not gonna. It's better that you take the chance and then maybe something you don't know what the outcome's going to be, but you've taken the chance, and like something good comes out of it, but you wouldn't have known had you not tried that. So,
and I just really like the saying that it's not what happens to you doesn't really matter. What matters is how you choose to react to it. And I try and constantly find moments to really exercise that saying. And I did that when we were looking for the drone. I'm like halfway up this steep hill. There's thorns everywhere.
yeah.
And I was like, this is still better than so many other jobs I could have right now. Like,
true.
I love doing this. Kind of just turned around, looked out over the ocean, which was kind of like wild at that moment.
Yeah.
The wind was really strong. I was like, this is great. I've lost my drone, but I still feel happy. Like, that to me was a high point almost of the whole time that you've been here.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird because, like, obviously that's not a great moment, but it was in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the drone saga. You feel better now?
No, I still wake up in the morning and I'm like,
Night
fuck,
sweats.
Robin,
Yeah.
you had one job. No, I mean, I don't know. I'm still enjoying it, being here just as much, even though
Yeah,
I did.
obviously, yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, it is what it is, I guess. What about talking about obviously we've gotten my side of what it's like working with you guys, but maybe how you're both quite driven people, so you've got you could technically do this yourself, but how, what's the purpose of me being here or having a third person?
Having a third person. I think it goes back to that, like, a third person could mean anything. I mean, we could have a third person that isn't motivated to do anything, and that wouldn't really, I mean, it would help us a little bit. But I think specifically you is kind of what I was getting to earlier, is just, it's a huge plus in terms of, I mean, for our company in general and in almost every aspect of what we're trying to do right now. That third person, there's just, I mean, as you've probably noticed, there's kind of always something for you to do, I think.
Yeah.
I've found that on top of everything you're saying, it's
Yeah.
also kind of an experience in leadership in a way, and having someone who isn't Taylor,
Yeah.
like the co-founder of Burning Boat. It's interesting to try and think about Burning Boat as a bigger thing, even though it's just one other person.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just trying to think, like, does it make sense to be doing this? Like, is this also something that you are interested in, or is it just our thing? And I keep thinking that no, we're doing things that are interesting and that other people hopefully want to see, whether it be a YouTube video
Yeah.
or a blog post or something like that. And it's an opportunity to ask you if you think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Which is super helpful to me personally.
I mean, I think it's definitely an interesting experience, because I think a lot of people don't want to show what goes on behind the scenes. It's very kind of polished, whereas here it kind of offers, as much as you guys do that as well, it does offer a bit of a broader perspective on what it is that you guys are doing and are planning on doing for the near and, I guess, further future.
Yeah. I think it's also just a very good test run in terms of working with you has, like, given me a lot of ideas, you know, when you leave and we do end up needing to hire somebody. I think I have a very clear picture in my head of, like, what is helpful in a third person and what we would be looking for, which I might have not known beforehand. I might have thought beforehand, oh, we need this person who can specifically do this and help us out with this one specific thing. And I think the same way you've kind of been helping out in all aspects is, you know, is kind of, I think, what I'd be looking for in a third person. Is not someone who just is like an editor or just a cameraman. It's kind of goes back to someone with the right mindset that can help out in all areas, because I just don't think we're going to be I just don't think it would be as helpful to have someone who like purely edits.
Yeah. So this maybe leads nicely into so why aren't we hiring Robin to just do this, or at least why is Robin not staying?
Right.
Maybe tell us a little bit about what are you doing after this?
Well, it's definitely it does get brought up like for moments every now and then, and it's something that definitely does excite me quite a bit. But what I've told Mats is that I definitely want to, if they'll have me, obviously, I want to be a part of like Burning Boat, I guess. But at the moment, I still want to continue studying in an like academic environment. So I'm gonna go back to the UK and do my masters, which is also something that Mats did. Just because I really enjoy the university environment and I want to learn more in that kind of structured setting, and sort of develop my skills and learn more before, I guess, venturing out and being. I think when I come out of that, I'll be more of an asset to either these guys or whatever it is that I plan on doing. I just think that I haven't developed my skills enough to be able to contribute as much as I could once completing the master's program, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a fair point. As much as I want to say don't do that.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's like just
that.
learn and improve with us. But I do get it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also, I'm very biased because I took the same
Yeah.
master's course, and
Yeah.
for me, I didn't get as much out of it
Mhm.
as I wanted to, and
Yeah.
I had that perception of it. But there's so many reasons for that. It was the first time that the course was available in our
Mhm.
school, so it was
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much a trial and error thing, and I think they definitely missed the
Mm.
point a
Yeah.
little bit. So hopefully it's better for you this time around. But
Yeah. Mm.
I mean, I
That's
think from
why.
our perspective as well, obviously we can't pay you or anything, so
Mhm.
even in that perspective, just giving another year, whatever you end up doing,
Yeah.
I think as a company we'll be a little bit more set up in a year as well to have an employee. Do you know what I mean? That
Yeah. I mean,
it's obviously hard to work for free for
Mhm.
however
Yeah.
long. You kind of have to set yourself
Yeah.
up for that.
No, definitely.
Or at least be prepared for that. So in that sense, it might be better for us as well that we would be a little bit more prepared.
Mm. And I also don't think it would be, at this point in time, would be like fair on you guys after saying that I want to learn more to kind of not put that pressure on you, but it's very much right now, I think you guys have a good thing going, and once you've developed that to a certain extent, then you'll start bringing in people more regularly to help you with stuff. But right now, I think this is a good kind of tester to see what it's like. But I don't think I don't know, I think you guys will definitely develop the company like successfully without a third person, like, to begin with. No?
it's
Oh,
all,
yeah.
it's all, we're gonna mess up completely when you leave. Nothing's gonna work.
Yeah.
I don't think at this point in time you like need a
We can definitely do.
because it's
Do
like
without.
it's your guys' company. You wouldn't have started it without thinking, without at least somewhere at the back of your mind thinking, oh, we can do this, you know, you wouldn't just fucking dive right in without being like confident in your abilities. Obviously there's some doubt at times, but you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I doubt it. It's the same thing as 3 people is just better than 2 people, but that doesn't mean, 2 people can't do it.
Yeah. Like even if Taylor suddenly didn't want to do it, I'd figure out a way to do it. Vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what might be interesting is kind of the difference between learning in school and learning out here in a very practical sense. Because my personal experience is that I've learned more doing this kind of stuff than I did in 3 years in film school. So.
Yeah, 100%. But it's also, we are telling you what we need or what you should do. And I think what would happen, if we had hired you, you would start to be in charge of things a lot more, and in that sense you would start to learn a lot more. Kind of like if we went on a shoot and did another cafe, for example, which is not the same as a hot air balloon shoot, so like, Robin, you take this one, kind of to give you an experience of learning a little bit. That is probably more of what we're talking about in terms of how you'd learn more in that kind of environment.
Okay, now I know what I wanted to say. As independent as a university environment can be, you're only kind of given a taster of what these different experiences can be like. Whereas with something like this, or the project that we worked on last year, or any kind of film or TV or any kind of film production that you work on, it's a lot more full on and a lot more, I guess, like real, so to speak, than anything that you'll really learn at university. But I still do want to do it, obviously. Like, it's still something that I will still gain stuff from it.
And I think that the main thing is you seem to have a drive as well, and that you're able to make the most out of a university experience, whereas I, for example, didn't have that same drive when I was in your situation, so I didn't make the most of it. I think you'll be able to, on top of doing coursework, work on your own things, which is, a huge advantage.
I mean,
you'll get a lot more out of it than
the same thing that you said. Like, you didn't feel like you made the most out of it after the masters. That's the way, not exactly the same way I feel now, but I do feel as though I could have taken more from my 3 years at university than I have done so far, and now I do have this option to continue it and to kind of step back and think, oh, here's an opportunity that I have, and I can put as much effort into it as I want to, and I guess will do,
Nice. So what's the plan then? You're going to do short film over the course of the next year?
The plan is that I'm going to be working on one as part of the course, and then I'd like to work on my writing, my skills on camera, behind the camera, and just overall, like, I'd like to work on my abilities that I've kind of managed to learn over time and just develop them so that when I'm done with university I can apply them, whether it's with you guys or in whatever situation I find myself in, I guess.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Alright, we're 42 minutes. Is that good? Wrap it up?
Wrap
feel
it
good
up.
about this?
I don't know, do you?
Does it feel good to you? Alright. Alright, we'll see you guys next week. Have a good week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
peace.